The moment the NFL released the 2026 schedule, the national media hit the panic button. Pundits immediately labeled the Denver Broncos' opening stretch as a brutal gauntlet that could sink their season by October. They see a schedule that opens at the Chiefs, followed by a physical Jacksonville team, the Rams on Sunday night, and a cross-country flight to face the 49ers. The prevailing fear is that throwing Bo Nix into this meat grinder, immediately following multiple surgeries for a fluke ankle injury, is a recipe for a total disaster. It has fans asking a dark existential question: is the season effectively over before the team even reaches their Week 10 bye? But that pessimistic outlook is a surface-level illusion. It relies on last year's standings and ignores the deeper mathematical reality of how the NFL schedule actually functions. When you strip away the emotion and look at the numbers, you find a very different story. This proprietary predictive model analyzes the schedule through pure data, ignoring the names on the jerseys to focus on probabilities. The algorithm builds its predictions on three specific hidden variables: net rest differentials, roster turnover rates, and the surprise factor of new play-calling schemes. By simulating the interaction of those three variables over all 17 weeks, the model reaches a conclusion that breaks the national consensus. It projects a dominant 13-4 finish and the top seed in the AFC. The AI sees strategic mismatches that pundits simply don't, turning what looks like a brutal schedule into a mathematically optimized roadmap. The media's terror starts in Week 1 at Arrowhead. But while the pundits see an impossible road game, the algorithm sees an opportunity. Kansas City is entering the season with a heavily depleted secondary. Their salary cap situation has forced them to start an unproven rookie cornerback in primetime against Denver's new look. This infographic shows the personnel mismatch. Play caller Davis Webb is expected to deploy the vertical speed of Jalen Waddle and Courtland Sutton to specifically exploit that rookie coverage. There's also the physical status of Patrick Mahomes. The model factors in the historic difficulty of returning to peak performance in Week 1 immediately following a major ACL tear. When you aggregate the rookie corner and the recovering quarterback, the AI projects a 24-21 upset, instantly flipping the narrative and generating massive early season momentum. Beyond individual matchups, the model incorporates physiological data, factoring in the impact of travel fatigue and cardiovascular stress. This bar chart shows a startling schedule quirk. Denver possesses a net +3 rest advantage over their opponents for the season, one of the highest in the league. That physiological edge is weaponized in Week 2 when the Jaguars travel to Denver for the home opener. Jacksonville has to survive a 4-hour flight and play at 5,280 feet in early September, long before players have reached their peak mid-season conditioning. They are also arriving with significant personnel losses on the defensive interior, leaving them structurally vulnerable to a high-tempo game in the thin air. The algorithm doesn't just see a home opener, it sees a mathematical certainty that Denver will dominate the first month by exhausting their opponents. As we shift to the back half of the season, the AI predicts a structural collapse for Denver's primary division rivals. On paper, the Los Angeles Chargers are the biggest threat, but the numbers show they've been handed a historically unlucky schedule. This data visualization illustrates the problem. The Chargers must play 4 different teams coming off their bye weeks, resulting in a staggering -24 rest differential. Denver capitalizes on this by facing these battered, exhausted division rivals late in the season, when the physical toll of that differential is at its highest. The model concludes that this disparity paves a frictionless path for Denver to sweep the division and seize control of the AFC West. By December, what looked like a gauntlet has transformed into an optimized strategic runway for a deep playoff push. The schedule provides a Week 10 bye, allowing for maximum physical recovery at the exact midpoint of the season. This timeline highlights what the model calls mini-buys, extended rest periods created by the way the Thursday and Friday games are spaced out. The ultimate example of this advantage is the Friday Christmas Day game against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo will be forced to travel cross-country into Denver's altitude immediately following a physical night game just 6 days prior. While the national media fixates on the brutality of the names on the schedule, the data reveals a different truth. The math, the matchups, and the physiological advantages are all trending toward Denver. It is the combination of a healthy Bo Nix and Sean Payton's modernized scheme that makes these advantages so lethal. The algorithm's verdict is clear. 2026 isn't a trap. It's a mathematically guaranteed revenge tour that ends with the top seed in the AFC.